Hello. Truly's Bill?
Huh?
Is that Truly or you're still on the IPA?
Yeah, it does. What are you in a fucking wind tunnel, you
Dude,
prick?
it sounds like you're in a goddamn wind tunnel.
Jesus, shut your fan off, you fat fuck.
Sorry, it's on high. Hold on.
I don't know if it's the fan. It's every time you talk, it's like you gotta
How's
get
that?
that fucking
How's that, Rich? Is that better?
much better.
Much better.
It was on high because I was sweating.
Lose some weight.
Look, man, I get it.
I know I gotta lose weight. Leave me alone. Okay?
Leave him alone.
Self-esteem issues, Bill.
Fuck
Leave him
yourself.
alone, Bill.
Not all of us can have that sweet, sick-ass gray beard and smoke 16 gars a day, bro.
Hey,
Sorry.
man,
They look as good as you.
The ladies like the gray beard.
Now, these ladies are Tinder dates because those are two totally different things.
And how much do they cost?
Free. Never paid for sex. Tried once, but I fell asleep.
He's sticking to that story.
Yep, he's sticking to it. I appreciate the persistence in which you are lying. It's deny.
I swear to
Deny.
God, I've never paid for sex ever. I swear to God.
Proud of you, Ray, man. All right, you guys want to get into it?
Yes, sir.
Welcome to the Simple Minds Sports Show, Monday headlines, July 6th. Hope everyone had a fun and safe 4th of July weekend. It was rather uneventful for myself. Bill is still recovering. He looks like a pile of shit and feels worse, I do believe. Is that right, Bill?
Awful. Yeah, I do not feel well today.
Well,
I'm half an IPA in, so I'm starting to feel a little better. So
Okay. All right, listeners. So mark this down. We're in 1 minute. It is 6:30 our time right now. I'd say about 6:50. We're gonna get good.
Billy
the good
BadWords,
Billy
yeah.
BadWords. Something will spark up and he'll come roaring back. Just that hair of the dog come flying out of his eyes. All right. So we want to go in. We want to jump right into probably the biggest news of the weekend. We're going to get into UFC and let the trash can himself give us his lowdown on Fight Island, which is coming up in a mere 6 days. UFC 251. Big news. The top card, Gilbert Burns was, I guess it's not disqualified, but he tested positive for COVID-19, therefore obviously could not fly, therefore obviously could not fight. And it was up in the air what was going to happen, how they were going to handle that. A lot of scuttlebutt, but then very, very quickly, we got our matchup that it seemingly everybody wanted. So, Bill, I'll just turn it right over to you. Just give us the lowdown, how it went down, what we're looking for now, in terms of, kind of the main cards. I know you just said that they switched it up, but just give us the lowdown, UFC.
yeah, so Gilbert Burns was going to, his third fight in 5 months. So he's fought twice during this COVID thing. I don't know if that had something to do with it, maybe the extra travel, but Masvidal versus Usman should have been the fight that was booked from the start. There's some bad blood with these two. They allegedly got in a fight in the Super Bowl, media day of the Super Bowl. They had to get restrained back. The reason the fight never got booked in the first place is because Dana White's kind of fucking Masvidal over. He wanted to pay him less than he made for his last fight, which is the Nate Diaz fight.
Right.
He was pissed for a title fight. He was making less money, but doesn't really have much of a gripe because he's 1 fight into an 8-fight deal. So I'm surprised the fight got done so quickly, but it sounds like it's a go. He's always ready.
Right.
I think the only thing that's going to fuck him would be his cardio, I think, and you're in the fucking desert.
Yeah, I mean, never mind like the contract and the negotiations. Like looking forward to the actual fight, it's definitely going to be a fucking challenge. I think he's going to have a ton of people rooting for him. Just the lunatic that he is kind of fun to root for anyway. But walking into a fight with less than a week notice.
Yeah, that's
flying
crazy.
flying across the world, going through all the COVID bullshit, and then try to beat a really good fighter is going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, and they're in Vegas now. They both touched down in Vegas this afternoon, so they should be flying out to Abu Dhabi tomorrow. I think it's a 15-hour flight. And then the fight card starts at 2 a.m. local time to keep us at 10. So a lot of the fighters are trying to stay up all night and stuff to keep on their normal schedules because it's going to be a late night for those guys.
Dude, how crazy is that? I mean, I think that's the right move for UFC. They live and die by their pay-per-view. And you can't be European soccer in this shit and making people stay up till forever, getting up at 8 o'clock in the morning or 7 o'clock, whatever. But that's so insane. Like you got all your training, then you got to adjust your internal clock, and then but you know what? You're a professional athlete. You get paid to do it. Go for it.
Oh, yeah.
Ray, you got anything on the big news over the weekend here?
All I know is that Usman is the number 6 pound for pound fighter in the world right now, Bill.
Yeah.
And then Masvidal has won 5 of his last 7 fights. That's all I got. So I mean, those are the records. I mean, 16-1 for Usman. This is going to be a good fight, I think.
Usman.
So they dropped the card.
Nightmare.
They dropped the card though, right, Bill? Because we do have two.
Yep.
We have 2 other title fights on the line. We got the featherweight and the bantamweight. I don't know how to pronounce any of these fucking names.
Alexander Volosky and Max Holloway is the main event now. They flipped that.
Right.
But that was the fight I'm most excited to watch because Volkanovski is a fucking monster. Dude, he is a fucking monster. So he beat Max Holloway in December. Unanimous decision.
Dude, anytime you put a ski at the end of the name, and you're getting some just brain dead Polak who's gonna bash his face
I
in,
think
or
he's
some
from
Russian.
Algeria. I think he's Algerian or
Whatever.
Austrian.
Either
Austrian.
way, all those guys are just tough as nails and just want to fight until they die. So
drink and fight. That's all you know.
It should be just terribly entertaining. Obviously, it's a full deck. We got some women fights on there that Bill has been shitting on constantly on our text chain and Twitter and social media. Not a big Paige fan in the ring there, are you? Are you, Billy Boy? We know Reyes, but that's because he's
not in the ring, but
horny motherfucker.
Not in the ring, but she's a stone cold fox. I mean, Amanda Ribas should destroy her. This is Paige Van Zandt's last fight in UFC. She's jumping ship. She wants a new contract. This is the last fight. She's out of there. There's a lot of talks that she got really lucky to get on this card. She got really lucky.
She's worth the $80 though. She's worth $80 to watch. Weigh-ins, watch it.
Pretty tough.
I'll pay for the weigh-ins. I'll pay for her walking down the aisle. I'll pay for it all.
She is tough. She broke her arm in her last fight in the second round and just kept fighting. So I mean, that's pretty much toughness. And she's
pretty and
Shrek.
Tough. Maybe she just sucks at fighting, but she's got a full.
You ever see her husband though? I don't know how that Shrek-looking motherfucker can pull some ass like that.
We say the same thing about you, Bill.
We've discovered money. He paid.
Money.
We've noticed UFC fighters don't make any money, and she's married to one.
Oh, what a transition, Bill. So that's he's been working on that one. So what we did want to dive into the world of UFC finances and just not shed a light. I mean, I think it's common knowledge, but kind of dive into a little bit just how poorly these guys get paid compared to other professional sports. So again, I'll kind of turn it over to Bill because you've been kind of preaching this for a while. I have some of the statistics down we can kind of fall back on, but we'll see. The funny thing you brought up is the eight fight deal that they were talking about. I kind of have sympathy for the Dana Whites of the world with this. It was the same thing like when Gronk was bitching about contracts. Like, dude, you signed the contract. You signed the contract. You could have waited and not done that length of a contract, but you did. So now you got to live with it. Now, if it was unfair to begin with, that's a different story. But, Bill, just kind of give us your thoughts. I think we're all agreement that basically all of UFC payment is kind of unfair at this point, unless you're Conor McGregor.
Or John Jones. I think Jones makes like $9 million a fight. He's your biggest star. He's the pound for pound best fighter. But yeah, you're talking some of like Masvidal. I sent you guys a thing. He's made $2.2 million in I read something today. He has 43 fights under his belt.
Holy shit.
So think about that. 43 fights and you make $2 million. Deontay Wilder made $50 million to fight Tyson Fury.
I mean, we've talked about boxing too. It's all the pay-per-view viewing.
Yeah.
I get that, but that boxing's the same as UFC. The top guys are getting paid out, and the bottom guys are getting shit.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm pro fighter here, and I have a huge problem. I think if this wasn't COVID, the Usman's not a huge draw. He doesn't demand a lot of pay-per-view buys, but since it's Fight Island and there's not a lot of stuff going on for sports-wise, like you need to pay these guys more money, especially for these bigger fights. I'm assuming Masvidal got more money because he's been bitching about money for 6 months now for this fight. So I'm assuming he got a little bump. But again, I mentioned Dana signs these guys with multi-fight deals. It's smart on him. They get more money every fight. It's really smart on them, but
no one's saying Dana White's not smart. He's building an empire in the mixed martial arts.
He's the sole reason UFC sold for $4.5 billion. He's the sole reason the company is as big as it is. I get it. I get why you're not paying these guys now, because UFC is losing a shit ton of money. There's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that you don't hear about where they're pushing pennies. They're pinching pennies behind the scenes because they don't get the draws. They don't get the fans. Think about how many fights they are, and they have zero fans. Like, that's millions and millions of dollars just from the gate. And Dana White does a good job at the end of every press conference. He'll tell you pay-per-view buys. He'll tell you how much money they win at the gate and stuff like that. So it's like you're doing that, but you're paying Masvidal $275,000 or $500,000 to fight Nate Diaz, and now you're offering him a title fight for less money. Mm-hmm. That's what I have a problem with as a fight fan. Like that's the shit that needs to change.
But can't that be equated to the COVID? I mean, can't that be equated to no gate sales? Like, look, this is the situation
because this has happened before. So this fight they were trying to get this fight since January.
Right.
And he kept backing out because Masvidal wants more money. And he's like, money talks. He thinks Usman's been ducking him. But you can see it's all about the money. And that's why I think he took it. Obviously, he needs the money. You're taking a fight you're taking your first title fight ever on a week notice. It's pretty ballsy. It's really ballsy on him.
And that's the threat of the whole company or organization, whatever you want to call it, whatever UFC is considered. There's about 500 male fighters and something like 86 or 90 women fighters. And it's fluctuating numbers. But it's a relatively small pool for a company worth somewhere between $7 and $8 billion. Your net revenues are like close to $1 billion a year now, and the average fighter is making $138K, but that's getting skewed by the McGregors and John Jones of the world. So the numbers I came up with, you only have 187 UFC fighters making over $100,000 a year out of that, 600. 37% of the fighters are earning less than the American median across the country, which is $45,000 a year. I mean, that's not shocking news for the fighting industry. Boxers are kind of similar. The bottom 10% of boxers make less than $19,000 a year, with the top 1% make over $1 million. So it's a hierarchy payment system. I think the difference with UFC is it's a privately owned company that has the ability, if they wanted to salary their employees, and they could technically count fighters as their employees. And because the pool is relatively small, that's something they could do. Comparing them to the MLB or NBA or some of these bigger franchises where there's, baseball is a good one where there's thousands of players. I don't think that's a terribly fair comparison. And there's 30 plus owners in all of these other leagues that have say. It's just the company that's making these decisions.
Yeah, and all the fighters are independent contractors, and you actually see it more in like WWF or WWE or whatever. They're all independent contractors too. So again, you have enough of them where you can make them full-time salary. But I think with Dana, he doesn't want his fighters to unionize.
Well, that's the thing, and
that's a big thing. That's a big thing, and because
of course it is.
Aside, but he's anti-union. He don't want his fighters to go down that route.
Then he should start paying them, because it's going to happen. I mean,
there's no competition though, Rich. Where are you going to go? You go to Strikeforce, you make a little bit more money, but you don't get the ratings.
But the sponsorship, isn't it? Sponsorship a big thing? Because Reebok right now is like
Reebok sponsors all the fighting. So if you look at like they all get like I think Masvidal got 15 or 20 extra $1,000 his last 2 or 3 fights because they're all sponsored by Reebok.
But if you go to Strikeforce, what if you go to Strikeforce? Can you just get any sponsorship you want?
Yeah, I mean, you can get any sponsorship you want now. Like, you can load your trunks up with any sponsorship. I mean, Reebok.
Oh, I thought it had to be Reebok.
No, it has to be Reebok now in UFC.
Oh, yeah,
that's
right,
what all the lower guys were talking. So, what the rule is if you have 3 or less fights, which is less than 3 fights, you get a $3,500 stipend for every fight, which is what's 3 fights. But beyond that, all the fighters are kind of pissed because they're losing their sponsors. You know, it's just Reebok, and I don't know if there's that middle ground of fighters. I don't know what the stipends are. I don't know what the payout is. I don't know if they're getting anything except maybe free gear and maybe some bonuses off the fights from Reebok.
Yeah, 5. Depend on the star level. You get like $5,000, $10,000, 15. I think it goes up to about 20.
Yeah, but that's nothing for these big name stars. Like the McGregors, the John Jones, this is nothing for them.
But they make their money. They make their money. They make their money on pay-per-view.
Yeah. Jones had Nike too. I don't know if he got dropped after all the coke and drunk driving stuff, but he was a big Nike guy for them.
I think the thing here though is, the rhetoric is Dana White has been slow to move his payment along with with how fast the company has been growing. You sign a 5-year deal with ESPN worth $1.5 billion in 2018. I think that's when Dana White came out and said, now we're worth $7 billion. But you haven't seen the same amount of movement for payment for the fighters now that the company has been so successful. And that I think that's where the kind of the outcry is coming in. When they first started, like I was reading some charts, it was almost 50%. It was like 40% take for the fighters. And then because that's a startup business, that's kind of usually how it works. And then as the business grows, that payment doesn't grow with it at the same rate. And that's where the dichotomy comes in. But to your point, Bill, the opportunities are there. And anybody who is serious about mixed martial arts fighting and making that their career is going to be drawn to the UFC because they have the best chance to actually make a career out of it and maybe get up to that 1% under that John Jones, Conor McGregor kind of career path.
Yeah, and McGregor's the biggest draw pretty much in UFC history. So I mean, that's why he's the number one.
I mean, he's a big reason why they are where they are now.
Yeah, he blew up in mid to late 2013 or 14. I think he started getting real big. He's the first double champion UFC history. So yeah, he was always, and then obviously John Jones too, but that's about it. I mean, you don't see a lot of other guys. Ronda Rousey was huge. I think she was at $8 or $9 million a fight when she was in there, but she was a flash in the pans and she got out of there quickly. So
I think
Tito Ortiz and Chuck Liddell back in the day were the big fighters, and I think they're only worth like $3.6 million each.
Well, UFC wasn't big when.
But I'm just saying, like even back in the day when those like are the big names back in the day, like they're worth nothing really compared to what these guys are getting paid now. So you can see how everything's been changing though. Like they are getting more money, the big name stars.
It was like Bill Russell and the guys from like professional athletes from like the 60s. Like
yeah, exactly.
Even like the Barclays of the world are so fucking pissed that they were playing in the 80s versus like right now, and the contracts that they're signing are just absolutely out of control. Yeah. But Bill, I'm glad you brought that up, that you've been throwing out that like $9 million a fight number. That's including your pay-per-views and everything included, right? Because I
think so. Because I think you get the bigger Conor gets a little bit of the pay-per-view money, and I think John Jones does too because they are huge draws. They
absolutely do.
Yeah, Conor wanted ownership when they sold for $4 billion. He wanted a piece of that, and UFC said no.
Yeah,
he was fighting.
Smart on both sides.
Yeah, he was fighting for ownership. I mean, Dana White got $450 million for that the sale. He got 10%.
Not bad. The career earnings was kind of interesting to look at. Just in the fight revenue, McGregor is at like 12.5. That's just UFC paying him out. He made 100 for the Mayweather fight.
Yep.
So like, look, he's financially your most successful athlete in your entire existence, And that, look, $12 million for whatever, 10 years of work is pretty fucking good. I get that. And that's not counting the pay-per-view. That's not counting sponsorships. Total earnings with UFC, I think, is probably closer to 100 million overall from what I was reading. But he fought Mayweather one night and made $100 million.
Yeah. Then he started that Proper 12 whiskey, and he actually sponsored the Wilder Fury fight. Like,
right.
And it's a very successful whiskey. I don't drink whiskey, so I won't try it, but he's making a shit ton. It's doing very, very well.
Yeah, he's doing good for himself. It was just interesting to see to your point, Ray, the guys that were coming up, obviously, it makes sense that he makes enough money, but like a guy like Anderson Silva has earned like $7 million over his entire career, which is spanned from the early 90s.
That's 44 fights equaling out to $184,000 a fight. I mean,
that's really not that. He's one of the greatest UFC fighters of all time, too. Think about that. He had like 13 straight title defenses.
Yeah.
He's
so
one of the best.
I guess to wrap it up, I'm not sure what the answer is. This is the way that fighting has been forever. Boxers have a little bit more protection. The Ali, whatever it's called, protects boxers from getting screwed from the pay-per-view, and they get a certain cut of that. But you got to get the fights. It's all about promotion. Yeah. It's all about clicks. It's all about views in those sports. It's not set up like the other ones. So I don't know. It sucks. It'll be interesting to see what I fucked up his name. I fucked up his name all day.
Masvidal.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he signed. I mean, Dana White probably was.
They'll come out after. You'll find out later. I don't think they announced it before.
No.
Because I've been looking all day to see if I can get the.
Did you see a picture of him when he was taking his COVID test? Have you seen those? Does he have a belly on him now?
He's always. I don't think so. He had a big baggy sweatshirt on.
All right, because that's what everyone was saying, that he had a gut on him now.
I hope so.
That'd be awesome. And then I'll be rooting for him 10 times more.
Just like literally off the couch. Yeah, let's do it.
Usman is a bad motherfucker, though.
Did you see? I just saw the one tweet that he had. I'm sure he had plenty, but he said, "Time to make the pig squeal."
Oh yeah, dude, they hate each other. They fucking hate each other.
I thought that was great. And he had like two little shit at eating grin emojis next to it. That was fucking hilarious.
That's awesome.
All right, well, I don't know. UFC Fight Night, that Fight Island, that will be must see. I know you guys are going to be watching the fight. I'll see if I can make that happen myself, and maybe we'll pull some content out of that and release it on next weekend. But yeah, for all you UFC folks out there, support the fighters union or getting them paid. Next up, this one's for you, Raymond. Gordon Hayward came out the last few days and said that he will undoubtedly be leaving the NBA bubble to witness the birth of his fourth friggin' kid. He had three girls. I think he was just going to keep trying until he had a boy. So
is this a boy?
There's a boy.
It's a boy.
I thought this was a girl.
No, it's a boy.
No, I think he would have killed himself.
Because that gender reveal video he had a few years ago where there was another girl and you could see his soul just being ripped out of his
He just walked back inside. Daddy, are you happy? Yeah, I'm happy.
Yeah, I'm happy.
Great.
So, the reason that is significant is twofold. Number one, she is due at some point in September. Around that same time is going to be the Eastern Conference Finals. We all expect the Celtics to make a long run, and we can talk a little bit about those expectations here in a second. So that would basically be you're in the Eastern Conference Finals. Gordon Hayward has to leave to go be with his wife. I did the numbers today. You can leave if you're gone for less than 7 days and you have a negative test, COVID test, while you're gone. Your quarantine when you come back is only 4 days versus 10. So if an NBA player leaves the bubble without permission or is gone more than a week, they're subjugated then to a 10-day quarantine when they come back. And when you're talking about a couple month season, 10 days is a big chunk of change. And when you're talking about a 7-game series, 4 days is a big chunk of change. So best case scenario, if he leaves like after the game, like if he leaves on a Sunday after game 1 in the Eastern Conference Finals, the kid's born on Monday. He's back on Tuesday. He's still going to miss a minimum of 6 days. I guess 5 if you really can cut the time limit, but that never happens. Like, she could be in labor for 36 hours. So he's going to miss a week. He's going to miss the Eastern Conference Finals.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to miss the Eastern Conference Finals. I have said, and it is on record, that I believe the Celtics will only go as far as Gordon Hayward can play, as well as Gordon Hayward can play.
Want to change that take? Change that take.
Ray?
I think that he will be the difference maker when it comes to beating the best teams. And that is going to be the Eastern Conference Finals and the NBA Finals if they're lucky to get there. So, yeah, no, I think this royally fucks him. I'm not going to change my take other than the fact I said he will be a difference maker. Obviously, he can't be if he's not going to be there. I don't know. That, do you fault a guy? I don't know. This is always a tough subject, but it blows. I'll tell you that much. It fucking blows. He'll probably get hurt in the first round anyway, but whatever. If he's not, it sucks. Ray, go ahead. Have your fucking day. What are you wearing right now? A Devin Booker jersey, you Judas prick?
No, Steve Nash, baby. Old school. Anyways, this is the wrong move. Your career in Boston has been a joke. You have been paid a max deal, and you haven't earned any of that. You need to stay and compete. Yeah, your wife's having birth. Yeah, you've already seen 3 of these greatest things you've ever witnessed. Stay in fucking Orlando and win this goddamn title. This is your whole career on the line. You need to prove yourself. You need to prove that you're a winner. You need to prove that you're a max guy. If you don't stay, you're not going to fucking be here. See you later. Bye-bye. That's all I say.
Hot take from Raymond. Ray, what do you think your wife would say if you didn't witness one of the kids' birth because you had to win an NBA championship or MLS championship, which no one gives a shit about?
How much money am I making?
$30 million.
Oh, she'd be fine with it.
She'd be fine if she didn't see you for several months at a time at $30 million a clip.
Yeah,
just keep sending the checks, baby.
Yeah.
She'd be fine to never see him again for $30 million.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I'm sure there's a threshold of money that you can make where a divorce is coming just to get half of it.
How much you worth? Yeah.
Yeah. How much? Okay. Sign
Here's my
these
lawyer.
papers,
Yeah,
okay?
Exactly.
It's so fucking funny.
I'm just kidding.
I'm
not. Billy BadWords. You know what? People think that Billy Trashcan is the most ruthless one on this program, but I got a feeling he's going to be a little bit of a softie on this take. What's your take?
How do you fault a guy for wanting to witness the birth of his child?
Fourth child.
Yeah, I guess the 4th one. I mean, I don't know. I don't have any kids, so I have no fucking idea.
Well, you've never been at any of your kids' births. That
Right.
is the only true statement we know of at this point in time.
I guess it's family. You can't really knock him for fucking leaving. But if he can go in and out and only miss a couple days, then
6 days, Bill. 6 days in a 7-game series. That's 3 games. That's a minimum of 3 games.
All right, Rich, what are you doing? You're
no, he shouldn't go. No, don't. I'm with Ray.
Yeah. Ooh.
All right.
Look, when you have a chance at a championship in your career, I've been thinking about this a lot. I'm actually gonna check out the Simple Minds sports show website off of another website. I don't know how to explain that, but I'm gonna write. I'm writing up a blog on this because the conundrum of just asking the players to play, never mind bringing in your wife going into labor. It's a tricky one. It's a tricky one with all this COVID shit going on. But at the end of the day, this is their career. And when you're a professional athlete, your career is finite. And anything can change at any point in time. And for a guy that shattered his freaking leg into 1,000 pieces, you would think that he would kind of understand that. And that would be resonating in his head. But I think that's the difference. I think that's the difference between someone who is the uber competitor, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, and someone who's a gifted athlete that got $30 million and will never get a max contract again. Mm-hmm. I'm not, and I don't know if that's right or wrong. It's probably wrong. I'm probably an asshole for this, but I'm pretty goddamn sure Tom Brady, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant are missing the birth of one of their kids if they're playing for a title. I just think that is they're wired, and they can. And I'm sure their wives are probably on the same page going, yeah, like, this is an understanding we have. This is what we're doing. Yeah, you're going to miss the birth, but you'll be there to raise the kid for the next 30 years.
FaceTime the birth, though? Can we, like, just put a fucking
There is some
FaceTime down our
technology in
pussy?
this situation.
I mean, can we?
Yes.
Like, oh, hey.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
pretty good.
Or
They
just
might
put it on her
videotape it anyway
stupid-
for later.
Or do you just put it on her face? Like, do you think he watches that thing come out? I don't ever want to see that thing come out.
I didn't watch.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
no fucking way. I don't want anything to do with that. Rich, you're about to have a kid, huh? You gonna watch it?
Fuck no.
Your
Kidding me?
Shit in her pants. And
just-
trying to push.
Just look her in the face and go, everything's fine. Everything's fine.
You're doing great. You're doing great. Are beers allowed in here?
I had a friend.
No.
I had a
Look,
friend
but look-
that had a baby last year, and he was drinking beers in the parking lot because they were in the hospital for like 48 hours before she even had the kid. So
Yeah.
he called me from the parking lot. I'm like, "What?" He's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I had to get out of there, drinking beers outside."
Yeah. No. I mean, I can see that. But my answer is selfish because I think the Celtics have as good a chance to win the championship this year as anybody because of the circumstances. I think that if the circumstances weren't what they were, I'd give them a top 4 chance. I think that they're that good. I think they're that dialed in. But I do think a lot of that relies on Gordon Hayward. So, biggest hater in the room, Ray, I know you don't think anything of Gordon Hayward, so you must think this doesn't matter. You just think he's a pussy. You think he shouldn't play the whole playoffs, and the Celtics will have as good a chance to make it to the finals as if he was there or not.
Yeah, absolutely. I do. I think that – how am I an idiot? Would you rather have Marcus Smart right now playing or Gordon Hayward playing?
That's not the point, you
That's not the
asshole.
point,
They
you
both
dick
play.
face.
Well, I'm just saying.
5 guys in the court, you dumb shit.
There's the 5 guys on the court, but I don't think he's one of the top 5 guys on that court. I don't think he's a great bench player, but he's not going to be a great starting 5.
Well, bench players also play. What are you talking about, Ray?
I'm just saying we don't need him. We don't need him to win this championship. He can fucking stay home all he wants and fucking be with his wife and those 3 girls and witness his baby. We don't need him to win this championship. I think the Celtics are fine. They're primed. They're ready
Are you
to go.
fucking high?
Put him on Tatum. Put it on Tatum and Brown's back, and they're going to fucking ride this one out. That's what I think.
You want to bet?
Yeah, you're wrong.
Yeah.
All
I don't know
let's-
how this bet would work, but let's figure it out.
Yeah.
Ray, you can split the money to me and Bill again when you lose.
Oh no! If you
God,
lose,
you're
I get
so
to light.
butthurt about
Hold
that.
on.
Jesus
Oh
Christ.
but yeah. Oh no! If you lose, we get to light you up with a paintball gun.
Ooh, I like that. Naked. No, just whitey tighties.
And what if I win?
Oh, Celtics win.
Celtics win.
Congratulations.
You get the champ. You get to celebrate the
Oh,
championship.
this is like that Tucker-ass butthole tattoo. All
Hey,
right.
if you win, I'll buy the beers.
Okay. Deal.
Good. I don't know how we're gonna. So if the this sucks for you, buddy, but put it in the ledger. Put it in the ledger.
It's in.
Look, me and Bill have the field, and you have the Celtics winning a championship without Gordon Hayward.
Hayward, yeah. We'll take the field on that one.
If the Celtics win the championship with Gordon Hayward, what happens?
That's what I was wondering.
Will
Ray
you only?
loses. Ray loses.
Yeah.
Because we have the Celtics with Gordon Hayward.
Yeah.
Ray
Definitely.
Oh,
has
it's a
them without.
fucking lose-lose situation for me.
No,
Oh,
they
that's-
could. The Celtics could definitely lose or win. They could. They could win.
Yeah, I mean, Giannis could go down, and every other big star in the East.
Sure. If
yeah,
Giannis,
then maybe LeBron goes down in the West, and
If
Kawhi injures his
LeBron-
hip again.
Paul George,
They're not going to play everyone from the West,
Kyle
you fucking
Lowry.
idiots. God damn. They're only going to play one of those teams, you fools.
it's all a comeback, Ray.
Siakam or whatever. That
But
guy
if
is from
but if
Toronto.
Kawhi and LeBron get hurt, they're not going to play either of them. So suck on that.
Ooh.
Let
Good
that
one.
let that rattle around in your thick skull.
Houston.
All right, let's see if we can fit this in here. So the other news out of the weekend, we've got baseball players dropping out left and right. Is that surprising to anybody? No, you're fucking dead to me, baseball, you piece of shit.
Still no big
Top
stars.
of the list is the least surprising news of 2020 in my mind. David Price himself has opted out of the 2020 season. Look, I'm not here to shit on guys opting out of playing in COVID situations. Mike Trout has a pregnant wife. He's worried about getting his pregnant wife and kid sick. I can understand that. Ryan Zimmerman is old and has kids. Ian Desmond has a pregnant wife as well. So these preconditioned guys, Trey Mancini as a precondition. All of these guys that have families or legitimate health concerns, I can kind of get it. What's interesting is the only guys that are opting out are the guys that have made their 30, 40, 50, $100 million. Is that ringing a bell to anybody? But David Price has none of that. He's not even fucking married, no surprise. He's got none of it. He doesn't have kids. He doesn't have an illness.
He has kids. He has kids, bro. He's married and has kids.
That's surprising. So, look, this is the thing that got him in trouble in Boston. His lack of competitiveness. That's the only thing that I can pin on. I mean, the Dodgers have a good chance of winning the World Series as anybody again. Considered the best roster in baseball next to the Yankees, probably.
Best rotation in the West too.
And you just got David Price from the Red Sox
for nothing.
For basically nothing, and he's opting out because I get it. Yeah, it's hard to shit on a guy, but David Price is a very easy guy to shit on. Do you think he has legitimate concerns? He might, but the lack of competitiveness in that guy is fucking evident in everything that he does, in everything that he says. Now, he did pay $500 million to the minor league system of the Dodgers this year, so give credit where credit is due. And he's widely considered a good teammate. So I think he's probably a good person. He's just so fucking hard to root for in terms of a competitive athlete. God damn it.
I think he's not going because Fortnite just released their new season. So I think he's all up in that, and he's just like, I can't go with this season, 2020. I'm going to sit this one out, see you in 2021. That's what I think.
I know that that's a joke, but I think that there's something.
I don't think that's a joke. That's serious.
I don't necessarily want to grind away at this in a situation where I could get really sick and get my apparently fucking kids and wife sick that I didn't know anything about. But also, I get to stay home and play Fortnite every day for fucking 12 hours a day. Loser.
You're making fun of Fortnite, Ray. You love that game, you fucking prick.
I wasn't making fun of it.
You want to talk about how this couldn't have worked out better for the Red Sox? So if you are high risk,
you know what, Bill? I do want to talk about that. You are in your transition game today. This is what you get when you don't drink Trulies and you're kind of hungover. Just Billy transition. So let's talk about how COVID-19 is making this Mookie Betts trade look better and better by the day for the Red Sox.
Oh, it's great. Shit, I lost my train of thought. Thanks a lot, Rick, for answering.
Sorry, buddy. Sorry, man.
No, for underlying reasons, the trade works the best. So again, if you're high risk, you can opt out and still get paid your prorated salary. If you're not at risk, you opt out, you don't get paid at all. Every indication looks like David Price is not getting paid. Red Sox are on the hook for $5.99 million of his salary this year. So that takes that money off the books. You put you lower under the tax threshold. I think you're at 198 now, plus the extra $6 million roughly. And then it says for next year you can potentially spend without worrying about going over the threshold, because it could potentially add $20 to $25 million you can spend on at least one guy for next year. So there's a lot of work money-wise for the Red Sox that works out well for them, for him not paying, because they're on the hook for $42 million, I think, for the next 3 years.
My question was, I simple minds, I actually didn't look this up. Does the $6 million come off? Does it actually come off the books in terms of the salary cap? Come off the books this year?
Yeah. Yep.
No shit.
Yeah, I can send you the article after that. I was reading this morning. It was funny because so it comes off, it wiped off completely. Because he's forfeiting his salary, because if he's not high risk, he forfeits that. So the Red Sox, Well,
I knew in real money that makes sense. I didn't know if salary it's for competitive advantage reasons, which would make sense to me if the salary cap would just remain what it was before the season started. But I guess I'm sure that there are rules that if a player up and retires or something in the middle of the season, you forfeit the salary, comes off the books. To be honest with you, I don't know. I don't know what that bylaw would be in a normal situation, so that's why I didn't know exactly how they're going to handle these on the cap deal, because essentially now the Red Sox have $6 million to go sign someone right now.
Yeah, yep. And there've been the rumor I heard earlier this week is Puig.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah.
So,
which is whatever to me. This is my question to you guys. I put it in the email. Name me 5 Red Sox pitchers.
You want the whole rotation?
If you looked it up, I don't want the whole rotation.
No, but I know 4 off the top of my head.
Eddie Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Rodriguez,
Nathan Eovaldi.
Perez.
Yeah, the guy they picked up. Yeah.
Colin McHugh is there.
Nobody knows that.
He's from Houston. And
Sure.
then Alan Weber.
Okay.
The other guy.
Yeah.
Ryan
All right.
Weber.
Ryan Weber. But they're also talking about going 4-man rotation.
Yeah.
And doing
Yeah.
like the
They're going
opener.
4-man rotation. They have one starting pitcher.
Yeah.
Nathan Eovaldi is not a starting pitcher. I would love him in the bullpen.
The reports out of training camp earlier, or spring training earlier, is he was throwing fire, and he was throwing 100 earlier this week.
Oh, shit, really?
That's great. Throw him in the but the greater point here is the Red Sox rotation is abysmal.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
just the rotation, their fucking bullpen still kind of sucks too. Like they didn't make any major moves to go shore that up, which was the number one reason why they lost as many games as they did last year. It was their setup bullpen was garbage.
Well, you overused Matt Barnes in the early year, but once you got Brandon Workman as your closer, though, his second half was a 1.9 ERA. Like, he was dominant. So now you have defined roles in your bullpen. If you remember last year, you had no defined roles. You were putting Matt Barnes.
But let me ask you. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Bill, but let me ask you something. And Ray,
Sure.
are the names Matt Barnes and Brandon Workman giving you a ton of fucking confidence as your 8 and 9 guys? Brandon Workman's been in the organization for years.
Yeah.
He had one good half of a year. Barnes has been up and down his entire fucking career with the Red Sox. Yeah, he's steadied out the last few years. I get that, but he's not an 8. I don't like as an 8 or 9 guy.
7. I like him in the 7.
Sure, 6, 7 guy. You know that
But you're
can
also
come
bringing
in.
Ryan Brazier back, who was closing a little bit. I mean, he was really good in the World
Oh
Series.
yeah,
But he
I
fell
know
off
he's
last
really good in
year.
the World Series.
He
What the
fell
fuck
off
did he do?
last year.
Yeah,
He
and
got
what did he
hurt
do
and-
before the World Series? He was pitching in fucking Japan. He's a journeyman reliever.
Right,
Come
but
on,
some
let's
of
not
these guys
talk up.
hit.
Let's not talk up these fucking guys like there's something because you can name them, Bill. Because nobody else in fucking Boston can name you 5 pitchers on the Red Sox staff right now. Nobody can. Their
Great,
pitching
man.
sucks. Their pitching is abysmal. So my point is, you got $6 million. Can you go use it? Can you go spend it on somebody who can someone who can throw 100 miles an hour that you can put in the bullpen at least?
I don't even know who's out there. And the thing about relievers, too, they're so hit or miss. They're up and down every year. You know, and that's what we're seeing. Hopefully we'll get some good seasons. Yeah. I mean, at least Brazier, or whatever, maybe he can bounce back. And like I said, I like Workman. I thought he did really well at the end of the season. He kind of stabilized the back end is what you're hoping to see now. So, and he's cheap.
Yeah.
You're not paying Craig Kimbrell $13 million back there. He's dirt cheap. So,
well, just wait for him to fucking opt out like the rest of these pussy baseball players. Speaking of opting out, this guy's probably going to have to take a little time off. Tanaka got drilled in the face by a Stanton line drive. Look, get well, Tanaka. I have no ill will against Tanaka.
He just left the hospital today.
The whole Red Sox-Yankees rivalry thing's kind of dead right now. So I don't really dislike any of these guys except for Giancarlo Stanton. So I put this in the email. Can this decision get any worse for the Yankees? You're talking about an offseason where Stanton was going to get traded, either basically to the Red Sox or the Yankees. The Yankees went out and got him. Everyone in Boston was disappointed, but then you went and signed JD Martinez, who in 2 years has averaged a .317 average, 39 home runs, 117 RBIs, playing 150 games, and a World Series. Stanton missed all of last year, and the year before that hit .266. So, and in that playoffs, literally could not hit a breaking ball off the fucking plate and swung at all of them. It was embarrassing to watch. So now, in COVID spring training, he fucking drills one of your starting pitchers in the head. How bad after playing fucking sandlot ball saying that he was hurt? So how bad does Yankee Nation hate Giancarlo Stanton?
You're forgetting at $35 million a year, too. $35 million a year.
Anytime I get a chance to laugh at the fucking Yankees, I'll put it in there.
Can we call him Mike, not Giancarlo Stanton? His name's Mike.
He came up as Mike Stanton.
Let's call him Mike from now on.
Well, if he wants to be called Giancarlo Stanton, let's call him Giancarlo Stanton.
No, fuck that guy.
We call Bill Trashcan and you Fatso and call me Mitch. None of us want to be called those things, so whatever. I guess we could call him Mike. I just reversed my whole polarity on that.
So it's Mike now. All right, thank you. Go on, Bill.
Fine. Either way, he sucks.
One thing you forgot to mention with JD, he chased the Triple Crown in 18. He very well could have won the MVP over Mookie that year. He had better numbers. Mookie won the batting title, but JD was chasing Triple Crown numbers all year. What do you have, 48 home runs, I think, that year?
44? 41, I think. 41, 44, something like that. But but mainly a DH. Mookie deserved that over him, I think.
No, but he could have. He should have.
Sure, no. Yeah, he was in the running. Yeah, no, he's. I think I put in the email the best, maybe the only good thing they've done in the last 2 years is JD Martinez. I guess Alex Cora, but there's so many fucking bad decisions the Red Sox have made, and JD Martinez had a question mark attached to him when they originally signed him. Not a lot of people knew exactly what he was going to be, and he's been terrific. So, and a really easy guy to root for. He's just a hardworking, comes to play type of guy. So that's one guy I will not shit on unless he opts out. That's it, boys. Oh, I didn't put this in the email, but I saw something come up. So our favorite league, not to root for, the National Women's Soccer League, got their tournament going, and this popped up when I was looking at shit today. They actually had an entire team forfeit due to COVID results. They had 6 players and 4 staff members test positive for COVID, and they had a forfeit before going into the tournament. And it clicked with me because we had Freddie Freeman and a number of the Atlanta Braves guys and their staff test positive. No, I don't think this is going to happen to baseball because they have minor league guys and reserves, and I think they'll have teams of people that can come up and play if you get smashed with COVID and it goes through your system or whatever. But I think it's a legitimate concern for NBA and NHL. If you get these guys that get positive and then it spreads and then you got to quarantine for however long they say you got to quarantine, you get a game the next day, you forfeit.
Yeah,
that's just plain simple.
I think baseball, you have 60 player pool or something like that. Of players you're allowed to bring in is something.
And they're all staying off, they're not all staying together. They're staying in another destination or something like that.
Well, around Fenway, they turned some of their luxury boxes into locker rooms to. Really
I think they're staying at BC or BU. Yeah, some of them are going to BU or BC. I saw.
Right. I think baseball has, just because of the way the game's set up, the way the roster's set up, and because they have a full season to play, they have put in, the parameters where if you do have this spike or something that goes through your locker room, then you can kind of handle it. They'll probably fuck it up because it's baseball. But with NBA and NHL, first of all, it's the playoffs. If this was the baseball playoffs, it would be a different story. You don't want to be sending out their scrubs to win a playoff game.
Fuck no.
And NBA and NHL do not have their G League and AHL kids lined up to come up and fill the spots. So, if fucking Pasternak goes out there and gets drunk and makes out with some COVID chick and then spreads it throughout the locker room, and you got 6 guys coming down with it, you don't have enough to fill the fucking ice.
Mm-mm.
So, that's...
Maybe they'll just fake them like concussion tests.
I kind of thought that, Bill. I don't know if they'd go that far. I think that would take the ultimate level of fucking balls because, look, if someone has too many concussions, they might die from it, but it's going to be like 40 years later.
Yeah.
If someone gets COVID and they get it bad, that's headline news. That's their worst fear. Oh my God. They would never live it down. So that kind of sparked a little bit of, worry. See how that might go down, but we shall see, I suppose. All right, that'll do it for Simple Minds Sports Show Monday headlines, July 6th. Catch us on Wednesday for Simple Minds Social Hour. What, did I miss something?
Patriots Kicker.
Oh, the Nazi Kicker.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. Sorry. Bonus material, Simple Mind Sports Show, Monday headlines. The Nazi Kicker covered up his tattoo. We haven't seen the tattoo. We don't know what it looks like.
He removed it. Removed it.
Completely gone.
Yeah, it's gone.
Okay, so the question is, if Nazi removes his Nazi tattoo, is he still a Nazi?
Nope.
Or a racist, or whatever it was.
This is what I asked you guys this weekend because I really want to know. I say yes. I think he's still a racist. Or Nazi. Sorry, this is Nazi.
It's hard to get rid of that kind of visceral hatred for an entire sect of people just by removing some ink from your arm.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
It's a 3%er tattoo, and I did a little research. All it is it advocates for gun use, and it's
no, it doesn't.
Resistance against the U.S. federal government, involvement in local affairs.
They're all fucking racist, you moron. Where are you looking at? What are you, the pro 3%er website? You fucking idiot.
I just want to know what it was about.
He pulled it from an OAR. He pulled it from a Fox News clip. Breitbart sent out a. He got a little news. He got a little news alert on his fucking Gmail. Breitbart, new email. Check this out. Look, I will leave a sliver of doubt that young kids do stupid shit. And if he was hanging around the wrong people at the wrong time, maybe got drunk and got some tattoo because he liked fucking guns and he was too stupid to understand what happened. Ignorance is no excuse to, what do they say, break the law or whatever. But, kids do stupid shit. So maybe he's remorseful, maybe he's not. I don't know. Either way, it's kind of funny to ask the question.
Yeah.
If a Nazi removes his tattoo, is he still a Nazi?
It just reminds me of Inglourious Bastards when Brad Pitt carves swastikas in all those guys' foreheads because they get to take their Nazi uniform off.
Right. Yeah.
Same thing.
You're still a Nazi, you motherfucker.
Still a Nazi, you prick.
The one thing I want to ask you, Mike Lombardi.
Oh, I was just going to bring that up, right?
Oh, go ahead.
No, you can go. Go ahead. You got it down
Michael
there.
Lombardi says that this kid's the key to the Patriots season. Did you see his stats at Marshall?
Well, was Mike Lombardi licking or gargling on Belichick's balls when he wrote that article?
A little bit of both.
Yeah, I was going to say both. He probably had his balls and was licking
he was cradling the balls and stroking the shaft.
The context of that article was now that they signed Cam, the offense is pretty much the best in the NFL, and the defense was already the best in the NFL. So the only thing that can hold him back now is his Nazi kicker.
Yeah,
and look, he looks fucking fantastic, and he got rid of his Nazi tattoo. So we're all good. Here we go, Bill. Let me know when you're going to come. Mike Lombardi signing out.
Let me throw you a little stats. He was 79 for 82 on extra points, 33 for 42 on field goals at 78.6%. I know, Bill, you already figured that out in your head. And his longest field goal was 53 yards. That's not
walk-off, too. I think he was 21 for his last 21 in the fourth quarter, too, or some ridiculous stat like that, too.
He had that, but yeah.
And he kicks in shitty weather in Marshall. So, I mean.
Bill likes those shitty weather kickers, man. He isn't taking those dome pussies.
He's got a decent track record of kickers. He brought Robbie Gould in.
Guys, we're not going to be the people that talk about the fucking kicker, okay? Unless they are racist and they get another racist tattoo. This is the last you'll hear from the kicker until he starts missing.
I bet he's got
left
one
and
probably
right.
like under his lip. I bet like a lip tattoo. Adolf Hitler.
And that'll do it for the Simple Mind Sports Show Monday headlines. July 6th. Tune in on Wednesday for Simple Mind Social Hour, where we will be talking about some more bullshit. Bye.
God. I woke up this morning going, oh, this is not going to be a good day today.